Many people thought that 2023 could not be followed up when it came to a year with good games. They did follow up with all these layoffs. That sucks. 2024 is a great year when it comes to the games. There have been a lot of good releases, a lot of fun titles, a lot of game of the year contenders. But one company had a great year that a lot of people might be sleeping on, because not only was their 2024 good, it started in 2023, but the future also looks bright. What's good, everybody? It's Blue Satire, and we're back on our discussion board today, and what I want to talk about is the year that Sega Atlus is having. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but there's been a lot of good games this year from Sega Atlus alone, whether they published it or made it themselves. They have been on a tear when it comes to games that a lot of people love, especially JRPGs. And I want to talk about how good this year has been, but also what's next for the future. And this is looking real good for Sega right now. So first and foremost, please like and subscribe. And if you could, keep coming, keep engaging. I appreciate y'all for watching that last video on what's next for Zelda. Y'all really came through and showed out with the comments, the conversations, and I appreciate y'all for watching it, because we are getting closer to this YouTube partner every time y'all watch a video and talk with me and others in the comment section. So I appreciate y'all for that. But let's get into it and let's talk about how good of a year Sega has been having and what's next. Many folks like me probably miss the old days when Sega was not only just a publisher and developer, but also when they had their own systems. Who remember those days of the Sega Genesis, the Sega Dreamcast? There was a time where Sega was a part of the conversation, especially when it comes to the first video game wars that people still kind of attach themselves to today. But Sega versus Nintendo. And truth be told, 2024 is really looking like Sega versus Nintendo again when it comes to the output of games, when it comes to the output of software, because they have all dropped some cool games. And it's very interesting because Nintendo's on his last leg, I guess, when you say the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, they're not on their last leg because they keep dropping more and more first-party titles. But Sega also has dropped a lot this year. And it kind of reminds me of those times where Nintendo and Sega was going back and forth with good games that identified what they like to make. You know, Nintendo has those family games, those popular franchises, the games that have that rich history and funny ideas and remasters. Sega has those games that have more adult themes in them than the normal Nintendo games. So it reminds me of that Sega does when Nintendo don't. The Sega for the teams type stuff. And that's not a negative thing on Nintendo, because Nintendo really is for everybody. And Sega games this year kind of show that they're for everybody too. Sega started off the year with already a Game of the Year candidate in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Like a Dragon showed up, and for those confused, the series that used to be called Yakuza. Like a Dragon showed up and had dang near 4 games in one. It was a Yakuza game. It had a Pokemon parody. It had an Animal Crossing parody. The game was fun. The game was great. The voice acting always is good, but Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was one that a lot of people enjoyed. A lot of people think that it's a potential game of the year. Sega started off the year swinging. How many people played Like a Dragon? Let me know in the comment section. Then they followed up with Persona 3 Reload, which the Persona series is one of my favorite series of all time, and you remake it and update it with the visuals and some gameplay elements of Persona 5. But this was a lot of people's first time playing Persona 3. And a lot of people, again, love this game because of the music, the gameplay, and it's another JRPG, quality JRPG. There were some complaints for some people. They like the OG better, but this was a remake or remaster that was highly acclaimed and very fun and really made some noise for Sega. And then they popped up with one of the most slept on titles, I feel, of the year. One of the best games to me that came out this year, in Unicorn Overlord, along with Vanillaware. And Unicorn Overlord, just one of those games that you really got to play to understand. Like, once you get in, it gets going with so many different characters, like all of these unique characters with unique voice actions, unique ways to fight. The gameplay reminds me of like Fire Emblem mixed with other old Atlus RPGs from back in the day, like Yggdrasil Union or things like that. Like, it was a very unique spin on the tactical turn-based gameplay, with good story, good art, good music, and good visuals. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on it, but again, another hit that a lot of people might have slept on, but Sega's proud of the million that they sold of this title, because again, it slept on, but it still sold 1 million, and it was a great game. And of course they had the party games like Demon Slayer, Sweep the Board, and Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. Some party games that let you see that they're in their bag when it comes to software and offering more than just these mature strategy JRPG games. They also had another like enhanced remake port, whatever you want. You know what they do. Persona. They always got that second version that adds more stuff and more story with Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, which was again a great game, where they brought it to all these other platforms with more features. And then you get into what's probably their biggest game of the year and one of the biggest JRPGs in a long time in Metaphor Refantazio. And it's already tied with other critically acclaimed games this year as the highest rated game, sitting at 94. It might have went to 93. But the fact that this is a JRPG that is probably gonna get some Game of the Year nods. It could possibly be one of the first JRPGs to win at the Game Awards, which, by the way, the Game Awards, it's a popularity contest. I don't really care how good a game is with that, because a lot of people gonna be mad this year. But that's just a side note. The Metaphor is showing to be very good. The visuals, the art style, the music. Sega is in a good place. On top of the year that they're having with Sonic X Shadow Generations and the Year of Shadow, we got another Sonic game coming out that looks like it's gonna be fun, even though it's a remake with like new levels focusing on Shadow the Hedgehog, on top of Shadow the Hedgehog in the new Sonic 3 movie, on top of a TV show, on top of all of this other stuff that's been going on with Sonic. Sega has been having a year. It's so much they've been listening to fans. But the best thing about that is what's to come with Sega. I think the momentum keeps going with Sega, because how many people remember the Game Awards last year when they announced all of those games and all of those series that they will be rebooting and remaking? I think that's when Sega really is gonna explode. I remember when Sega was sending out all of these surveys saying, what games would you like to see again? Me, I put Skies of Arcadia. That's a slept on Sega hit, and I'm still hopeful that we get a Skies of Arcadia remake or something in the future. But they revealed that they had some games that they were remaking and focusing on. And those games are Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, and Streets of Rage. And I think that's gonna really propel Sega again into this success that they've already been having for the past year and a half, couple years, honestly. They have not missed. And one thing that's in right now, whether we like it or not, is nostalgia. But Sega's nostalgia has been something that people have been asking for a minute, because they've been sitting on some gold. There are things from the era from the Dreamcast, the era from the Sega, that we want to see again. And one of those main things is Jet Set Radio. We've seen so many games that have been inspired by Jet Set Radio in the last couple years, like Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, a recent game, Parcel Corps, which is indie games. Indie games have been showing their love to Sega. The beat 'em ups that show their love to things like Streets of Rage, Golden Axe. People have been wanting a new Jet Set Radio, and Jet Set Radio is a cult classic. And one of those genre-defining games that showed the style of the era back in the day, Xbox, Dreamcast, GameCube. So knowing that we're getting that in the future might be a W, and I think it's gonna be a W. I say might, but I think that as long as they make it and develop it right, Sega has a nice future ahead of them. And that leads me to wonder, what else do they got up their sleeve? Because not only do they have the new games, we know we got a new Like a Dragon series where Fam is a pirate coming out next year, but that leads us to other games that we might be seeing and other things that they might be publishing. Like, what's the next Persona game coming out? What's the next game they're gonna create in its own franchise? Metaphor Refantazio getting these good reviews and already selling real well on Steam before coming out. It's showing that new IPs, if they look good, if they're made different, if they show something cool that we love, but also something new, that it can be successful. So what else could Sega possibly have up their sleeve? That's what I want to know from y'all in the comment section, because I'm ready to see. I'm ready to see Jet Set Radio. I'm ready to see Crazy Taxi again. I'm ready to see these old games get remade. But I also want to see some other things that's in their library of games and classics. Let's bring the Dreamcast era back. But that's all I want to talk about today. Just how people feel about Sega's output. I forgot to mention Grand Blue, even though they didn't make Grand Blue. I do believe they published it, but still, that's just Sega been killing it, y'all, and I love it. I love that Sega has been doing good in this third-party publishing role, and I know a lot of folks would love to see Sega make another console one day. It always makes me wonder, if Sega didn't have those bad decisions, if Sega didn't go bankrupt, if Sega didn't pull out of the console market, what would the space look like today? Would Xbox be as big as it is now, even though Xbox kind of fallen off a little bit? Let me know in the comment section. But I appreciate y'all for watching. Let me know what set games you played this year. Let me know what set games you want to see in the future. And again, like and subscribe, and I appreciate you for watching. Y'all have a good one, and bye.